Well, today is the 25th of fucking April 2025 and we've got this fucking burning problem again. So I'm fucking fuming. So I've been ill with that fucking burning. So I'm struggling to breathe. Fucking burning sensation. So I don't know how fucking long I've got to spend out here. Right, so obviously I've got chest problems, struggling to breathe, burning in the chest and the throat. My head feels like it's being crushed in. I got the diarrhea, and you've got many other fucking problems and symptoms that's causing sort of pain, like cold muscle pain across your body, itching all over your body and on your feet in particular. So I'm not in a very fucking happy mood. So it's one of the worstest burning times we've had for about 3 days. Right, as far as the setups go, going out, that's been fucking terrible. But firstly, let's just get on with the issues that have occurred. So, at the start of when this burning was occurring last night, someone said in a sinister way, "Rest in peace." Like that. So they said, "Rest in peace." So, that was the start. When that was said, that's when the burning started. There's been other threats. I've been accused of raping Sadie and raping Ian. You're having a double break-in, you're having a fucking break-in, everything lost. And people claiming that your name's changed from Savan when it hasn't, because I've never been known as that person. My name's been Justin since birth. And then obviously you had a load of loud bites timed to erections, digging into my fucking penis to every impulse, timed masturbating, timed jerking cum and timed coming. So I'm not very fucking happy. And also, we had the support worker phone me up this morning, and I was explaining how difficult it is to get down on the alcohol, the vodka that I'm drinking, and also how I'm struggling with smoking like 12 fags a night at the moment. It was 20 going back along, and it's costing me a fortune in fags and baccy. So obviously I've got to try and get to grips with that. But it's very difficult when you've got the burning problem and whatever else that's fucking causing all this shit. Because obviously, not only that, but it causes diarrhea, which is inconvenient. It happens every time the burning problem occurs. I'm getting diarrhea. It's upsetting my bowels and making you feel bloated, crushing your head inwards, cat claw scratch marks right across the whole of the body. You have to keep wetting your head because of how painful your head is from burning sensations. So anyway, going out, they've been trying to fucking smash me to pieces and been trying to hit me off. The government or the Creator God, whichever bastard's doing it, because the Creator God is a spiteful, malice bastard, an ice-axing bastard that gets the side of a fucking piece of ice or a fucking glass and smashes it right through your fucking heart, and gets a mallet and smashes you right through the fucking ice into the cold water. And that bastard is also a fire-staking, raw, burning, flaring, outright nasty bastard. Right, so let's get with the fucking setup, shall we? Fucking sexual slaughter, fucking cunt. And that's something else. On sexuality, I've not had sex in my whole life, yet I'm being fucking nailed as a sick cunt and being stopped from getting sex all my life. And there's nobody that can help me, nobody gives a fuck. There's nothing you can do about it. God's just a nasty, nasty bastard. I mentioned this on yesterday's recording when I lost my temper. So let's get on with the issue. So obviously when I forgot about this. So when the support worker phoned me up, I was basically saying, like I said, like just now, that if I had sex or I had a partner, I could get off the drink and fags pretty easy. But the problem is, I was telling her that at 44 years of age, I can't take to that type of attraction. And I was saying everyone's a single mother, everyone's stale, everyone's used and mistakes have been made, which basically means they're a single mother. And obviously everybody's had sex in their teens, 20s and 30s, and I'm being told to go with a stale piece of shit that's fucking very used in the age of, in the 40s, because of my age being in the 40s. Yet just 20 years ago, there were people 18 years of age going out with people just as old as I am. It's not heard of today because everything's changed, but they fucked my life up. They sliced my fucking wrist. I'm living up to my name, just in fucking time. Serve time. Fucking hang time. Serve time forever. Indefinite. Living up to your name. Fucking just in time. So, yeah, so that's how fucking nasty the Creator God is. So I'm not very fucking happy. So anyway, once I mentioned that, I was sort of saying, that you can't get a prostitute because they don't give sex. And the other thing is, I want raw sex, not fucking safe sex with a condom on, because I was sexually abused without a condom on when I was a child. And obviously, God thinks it's funny, because when I was being sexually abused as a child, seagulls, crows or whatever were making these sounds while it was happening. And going, whoa, whoa, and ha 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 ha, and doing stuff like that. So, you know, the creator's fallen. When I had a past life psychic reading, just over 15 years ago, I was supposed to have been a sexual looking lady that many men would have fancied, and I was a blonde lady, apparently. How true this is, I don't know, but that's what the clairvoyant told me. And said that I was working in a laboratory before I died tragically in my early 20s. And she didn't say how I died. And she said that this life's going to get better, you're going to get a partner. And didn't go much into too much detail, because obviously it cost a lot of money for that one reading. I think it was over 100 quid, if I remember at the time. So it's definitely one, but this was in the early days of when I was getting into all the clairvoyance and psychics. I don't have these readings today because they've always been wrong. However, they haven't always been wrong, but they have when it comes to the girlfriend part. Anyway, as a child in my last life, as a little girl, I had quite a rough life because I was being sexually abused repeatedly as a child in my previous life. Obviously, when I'm born again in my next life, after I'm dead in this life, I'm going to be sexually abused again. There's no escaping it. And also we got animal voice sounds, which were occurring yesterday. There's been a few today, but I just want to mention yesterday's sounds, because obviously crows, seagulls and birds and dog barks were saying that I'm going to be going to the fire of hell, telling me that Jesus has turned, telling me that I'm going to be sexually abused as a child in my next life, and going ha 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 ha, and telling me that I'm not going to have sex in my next life, and basically saying stuff to suggestions to say that you're going to be bitten by a deadly snake, a cobra or fucking black mamba, or you're going to die painfully, or you're going to have a crocodile rip your fucking guts out, you know, stuff like that. So you can tell the fucking creator's fallen. Right, let's get with these fucking setups, shall we? Right, so going out, initially there's no problems on the first part of going out. Get around the corner, bike timed to an erection. Penis shoots up, so 8 times loud bike. A gun looking car, which looks almost identical to the one Patrick McGowan drives in on the Prisoner series, which was released in the 1960s. Well, when it comes to that blackish yellow car, nearly identical looking to that. So then you add a load of black and blue cars, sexual cars. My penis shoots up to 8 times loud bike, and then penis up, get towards the traffic lights, and penis shoots up and motorbike angled at me. Cars stopped me going to the shop, which I was going to do before I came out, but with all the setups and everywhere being busy as fuck, I decided that I'm not going to do that. Right, so after that, right, yeah, so there was a pink sexual looking van, followed by a light pink, I think it is, and light blue sexual colour van with pictures on it. So they're 2 separate vans, the ones I'm mentioning, but they came almost in order via some form of whatever cars it was in between. Most of the cars, 90% of all the cars, were done in that spiteful malice order. Also you had the what you call it, the knife shaped car, or whatever. I managed to get past that crossing on the one side, but again they had the traffic controlled in a way to stop me crossing, so I had to wait about a minute. Right, when I cross over to the next section, obviously the time in black and blue cars, sexual and all of that, and they're angling a motorbike timed to an erection at me, and then there's another motorbike timed before putting 2 rough people in my direction, and a rough person timed who photographs me saying you're gone. After that a seagull goes ha 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 ha. Right, so then after that there's a Bond van. Let's see where it is. And also there was oh fuck's sake, I can't remember. I almost get hit because the way the creator gods constructed the movement of vehicles around me. You had a motorbike tying to an erection saying bike it on the side of it. Then there was another 2 people that walked my way who were rough people but on the other side of the road who were photographing me and having an argument between them, thinking that I was Savan. Then you had another rough person in my direction occur with no problems. Directly after that, there was another rough person that was in a car that photographed me saying that I'm dead and saying that I'm a child rapist and woman beater. Then you had a row of black and blue, red, sick white cars going in the direction opposite to where I was going. As I go around the corner, there's an overhanging trailer trying to rip my legs off from behind, who has to move over because of a car coming the other way, slightly over more than usual, which causes the person that has the overhanging trailer. So the overhanging trailer does cause my trouser leg to move. So it makes it made my trousers move, but it didn't actually touch it as such, but it's very, very close. So that obviously they want me fucking dead. The creator god wants me fucking dead. Fucking cruelty cunt. Right, so then you have more black and blue cars. The traffic flow starts to increase. So when I get to the next section, there's 2 rough people my way and a rough person my way. Again, they pose as if they're photographing me, and there's a couple of mild threats. Same sort of stuff. Fire one was saying that you're having a fucking burglary, everything's gone. Right, after that, a man walks past, holds his hand into his fist, and does that a couple of times while on the other side of the road, and he's not in a very happy mood, so I don't think he said anything, but I had to pass that. A car had to beep because I nearly got hit just as I started to go onto the bridge area from the bottom end, just as you go onto that section of road, because the car wanted to go in my direction and I didn't see it because I was writing stuff down. I was accidentally slightly a bit over. So then there's a van with 1 light out in my direction, and because the traffic flow on my side of the road is busy, I decided to risk going on the other side, and doing so, the government or the creator god made sure they fucking tried getting me fucking knocked off, little bastards. But firstly, Penis shoots up some motorbike with light on, angled around at me in a sly way, and then when I cross over, we've got an 8 times loud bike that doesn't see me, and I nearly get smashed to fucking pieces by that motorbike going around the corner while I'm on that sharp corner piece. And then after that, they need to time 3 cars who are also very close to me, close to the hedge as they could possibly get, nearly hitting me, every one of those 3 fucking cars. A seagull says ha 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 shag dag. Then what happens then? Then there's a load of black and blue cars, another vehicle with 1 light out, a rent-a-kill van, time to go van, time, and then the number 2, and then go. After a rent-a-kill van, by the way. So making the suggestion they want me fucking gone, either the government or the creator god or whoever's fucking setting it up. So a crow says molested Sadie. Red car collides black mixed with blue van. Magna van. Penis ups a motorbike. Then there's a couple of people that walk in my direction getting nasty with me. Someone's wearing a Street Fighter turbo top. A gist lorry as I look towards the other side, because I have to go right across the road because I can't get to where I want to go, so eventually I have to take the roadway and go through that way instead. I'm trying to think what happened after that. I think it's this, you had the smashed glass looking lorry, a van that looks like it's covered in razor wire, in drawing of razor wire, like curved, sharp razor wire. Then there's a skull and bones vehicle, followed by another vehicle that looks like smashed bones on the side of the vehicle. Smiles all around van. Just in time van with the double bell alarm clock picture on it, and a mallet smashing that double bell on the alarm clock picture, and it says just in time in the middle of that clock as well as being on the actual van itself. Right, so you had a BECKS, a Bex van, a No Chance van, a Turner's tanker, a Mercked lorry, MRCT, Smash You to Pieces rubble smashing flatbed lorry, followed by another vehicle that looks very similar to the Smash You to Pieces rubble flatbed. Then you had the Ripping You to Pieces paper shredder van, Life learner car, and to take into account the setup in between that is like black and blue cars, sick white, red, white, in that sort of pattern, 80 to 90% to every car on the road. We're about 150 in the midst of what I just mentioned. Right, so a crow saying fuck da and shot down repeatedly, that's at this minute in time, but let's get with the rest of the setups. So the traffic flow started to decrease as soon as I come on to the next bit, and it's actually the most busiest I've ever known that specific road, and to have these types of vehicles on that road is very rare as well, so fuck knows how that's happened. But I did take the longer route, so I didn't come here until going around, and obviously you get that sort of vehicles down, those type of vehicles down there. So anyway, I've done a detour, and I've managed to get to Barrack at Jack the Treacle Eater. I don't know if I just mentioned it, but you had the Aqua Aid van. I see the person in the Ripping You to Pieces paper shredder van. This time these two people are laughing as they pass me. And See You Next Life Trash Cowboy. After that you had a couple of black and blue cars. No Sex Please We're British t-shirt. That's occurred again, which is not a t-shirt that usually occurs that often. But obviously this was occurring at my old place, by the way. But you know, with the jinx I got around me, obviously you're going to get this sort of thing occurring, you know, because it's only constructed around me. I don't know how the Creator God's doing it. But obviously the bastard is a bit of a cold bastard, because I went to go to church for 3 years and my life got even fucking worse. And also when I started going to church, it was about 1 year after I started going to church was where all the fucking trouble started, where I had that 9-month period between somewhere like October 2020, well, more than 9 months actually, 12 months I think actually, near enough. So October 2021 to roughly September 2022, or just a little bit before that. So what happened in that time period is I had at least 40 threats every single day. People were kicking off left, right and centre. It's my worstest year, the worstest direct threat year in my whole life, all that time period. And it could be up to 150 threats on some days. It's also the year where I got chased with a knife on 2 occasions. And it's also the time where I had to phone the police up on 3 occasions because I was nearly attacked, and some people almost took chase on me over 15 times of that year, possibly more, I can't remember. And it was a really nasty year, so I had to pretend that I had a weed killer needle on me, and I'd have to inject that person to death, or I'd slice that person's throat or slice that person's wrist with a knife. That's the only way I could deal with the problem at the time. So I had to say that. I knew it's not something you could say, but you have no choice in the matter. I mean, there's well over 100 incidents of where I was nearly, you know, of these types of problems where I was nearly attacked in that year. Going through each one individually, going like to how I explained it just then. Right, for people sneezing in my face could be up to 300 times in one day, and it was at least 40 times every single day of that time period I just mentioned. And people photographing me with their smartphone, mistaking me as Sven or Liam, getting people to say they're going to get people to smash me out or shoot me dead, or spread rumours about me. That was also at least 40 times a day. People everywhere were just photographing me because they think I'm Sven when I'm not. So we had that, and that was all 1 year after I went praying and going to a church. And as I said on yesterday's documentary, there we are, just There we are. Listen to that. The crow. Anyway, let's get on with the setups. It's not the sound I thought it was making, like just now. Right, so I've lost what I was going to say now, thanks to that. Right, so I remembered what I needed to say. When I was going to the church, up until I basically stopped going because of all these issues, I noticed that when I was in church, at times of an erection, when I allow bikers to see you go, ha ha ha, Justin, ha ha, even when you're praying or singing, and telling enemies to actually smash me to pieces walking to and from the church, and I have many problems, especially in the year of 2022 and 2023. The calmest year for problems was April 2023 onwards, because there's hardly any threats, right up until about September, something like that. And also this year has actually been quite good. In actual fact, this year has probably been the calmest year for threats out of every year I've lived at Yeovil, because there's been about a 2 or 3 month period where there's literally hardly any threats. Obviously that's all started up again now, people are kicking off again, but you did have a time period where, you know, you didn't have too many problems. So this year is probably the calmest year, which is good news, but I still don't have sex, I still not had sex or anything like that. Anyway, I stopped going to church because obviously God has fallen against me and taken the piss out of me, and obviously I ripped the Bible up because a 35-year-old lady told me I was a sick bastard when I tried having communication with her, because I've not had sex in my whole life and I wanted to try and get with her. But she told me you don't look at anything of a lady of 35 or under. So I ended up ripping out the Bible, because Jesus Christ was crucified at the age of 33 or 34. So I thought, well, I can't read the Bible then if we're going to play like that. And also, Jesus Christ in his living life had sex with Mary Magdalene, and how can I follow a person that's had enjoyed sex with a sexual person as a prostitute? If that's true, I don't know about that part, but Jesus was definitely in a relationship with Mary Magdalene, and obviously that would have been under the age of 35 as well, a lot younger. So obviously God's cut his throat with me, I tell you. This is why the Creator God's fallen against me, and why he's taking the piss out of me. He wants me sexually abused, molested, stopped from getting sex all my life, and nailing me as a sick cunt all my life, and stopping me get anyone. And now I've reached the age of 44, it's too late to do anything, because everyone's a stale piece of shit, a used person, and just look fucking terrible and ugly, with rough skin. So basically they look like a granny. It might be better to say that, because that's how fucking violent the Creator is. God wants me with someone that looks like a zombie from the fire of fucking hell. So basically he's putting me in the fucking fire, in the flames, as I mentioned earlier. The bastard can't help it, the cunt's fallen, alright? Sexual slaughter bastard. And it gets even better, because even though people are telling me, or you know, I'm a sick cunt, or moaning about the age gap, they deliberately do this, the Creator God does, or the government, or whoever set it up. They deliberately time people in my age group in a sexual relationship with an 18-year-old or 20-year-old or whatever, in a sly way. It's very rare it happens, but the way it's being done is sneaky, to make it look like I'm a sick bastard but it's okay for everybody else, sort of thing. And I'm not making this up either. It doesn't happen often, because obviously people don't allow the age gap, but I've been treated like a piece of shit just if there's more than 3 years difference in age on dating sites in the past. Yet I can go out after a bad day or whatever, and they deliberately time someone my age in a sexual relationship with someone about 18. But like I said, it is rare, because not many people allow that, because they put you down as a sick cunt today. And we're talking sexual types as well, not just ordinary looking women. But you know, if the Creator wants to fucking fall, then the cunt can fall. But I'm just going to get nastier and nastier if he does, because I'm not going to take it anymore, because I've had a fucking enough. At 44 years of age, you don't take the piss out of people and you know, and go on and carry on, just go on like that. So obviously Jesus Christ needs to fucking stop it. This is why I'm not religious at all, except for spiritual, new age, that sort of stuff, because I can tell you now, the Creator God is a cruel bastard. And the Creator God's name is Yahweh. It can also be known as Jehovah, which means the same. And Jah and Yah also means Jehovah or Yahweh, which is the same name, a different abbreviation. And in some forms, Allah also slides into that same God. So obviously, and then obviously you've got Jesus Christ, the son of that bastard. So yeah, I'll leave it there on that section. Right, so paedophile said, hen says there's nobody left, crow says pervert. It's all over van timed, and straight after there's a no sex sticker in a sexual car on the window. I've seen that sticker before, but not on the window of a sexual car. Paedophile said again, hen says break-in, and there seems to be a lot of voice sounds in general coming from animals that are downright fucking spiteful. But like I said, the creator God's like that, isn't he? Anyway, we've got this sexual curse again. I'm not sure what the weather is today, but I noticed that it seems to be mostly cloudy everywhere, and they're circling me with the sunshine. So I don't know how they're going to replace the Lauren curse. I don't want to start that fucking trouble. Not while they're telling me that there's no sex. They're violating me big time. Well, I don't like the fucking sunshine every fucking day, Downing Street, or creator God, whichever's causing it. You know, but it's you know, the bastard's fallen. The bastard's taking the piss out of me and violating me, going against the reality of things that should be positioned for what you're, you know, or whatever. Yeah, you know, the creator's just fucking corrupt. Right, so getting knifed, dead now, isn't he? Said. After that, there's a Tesco van timed. Even though I've just been mentioning the sexual curse or whatever of this sunshine, that makes no difference with these bastards or the creator God. HP van, a van that says it's got a B and then like a space and a line across, and then it says SG. Stabbing with AIDS needle said, dead you child molester, just said by a lady. A blue and then a blue car. A crow says knife dead. And I'm on that road where there shouldn't be more than 10 cars in one direction. You know, the one where, for fuck's sake, where they've broken the record, penis up. But obviously, you know, let's see how many there are. Right, I'm not even halfway through. At the minute, you've just broken the record of how it was 6 weeks and before ago. So between July 2024 and 6 weeks ago, or just as I came back from holiday, from staying at my mum's, the record breaking amount of cars in one direction walking this road was 10. But obviously it's increased since that time, and at the moment it's 11. Some days it can be 20, sometimes it can be 30, and I think there's been a time where there's been 40. Near enough. In the last 6 weeks. Mostly before the positive sexual suggested setups, which never came true, and I was violated by. Right, so I'm not sure if I read this specific one out, but crow says knife dead if I haven't already mentioned it on the previous section. Right, penis up's a motorbike. Grey, yeah, and yellow car and white timed. 2 grey, bonus a motorbike, then the next motorbike. Grey, white, Somerset Waste Partnership. 55 a live van. So that's 55 and a live van. Then you've got the laughing armchair van, which poses as a being very grateful, very proud, but in a like a posh, suggestive way. YMF van. 2 black gun looking cars and a blue follow. Black and blue, black sexual car. A rugged beastie looking dull, dark purple, nearly black colour car with other black, with possibly black over it as well. My way, timed at the roundabout, sorry. And 50 more cars after that. Every single car of those 50 cars roughly is organised in a pattern of black and blue, sick, white, sexual or whatever. No knife shaped, but you did have several gun looking ones. Right, so let's give you the latest. Right, Seagull says busting in. Then there's a just married wedding car my way, followed by a van saying Jesus is Lord. A bird says busting in Justin. A bird says nobody left Justin. To the rescue t-shirt. There's a Bob Marley t-shirt. Meat Men van, spelled M-E-A-T. Penis Up's a loud bike. Fill it in car. Fiend bag car. And there's roughly 30 cars in the mints. 90% to suggestion. Penis Up's a loud bike. And then Crow goes ha ha ha. After that you've got a van I've not seen for a while. It says here comes Mike. Then a Crow says ha ha, face of a pizza. Ha ha. Let's hotten things up. T-shirt and a started learner car. Right, I've got to read this out, I'm not going to keep up. Right, let me just find an orange car my way. A car trying to cut me up on the corner, turning into me. That's a sectional grey motorbike, by the way. Trying to erection. Grey, white, over drain, car saying red. And then white timed. Penis shoots up some motorbike timed around the corner. Grey, sexual, but nice looking car with lights on. And then sexual car. Penis up motorbike. Penis and motorbike outbreak. Willy a bike up, willy up bike. Bikes timed. Right, so next. I'm being choked up by catalyst. Right, so I won't get to say that as I don't know where I've taken off. Right, so a black mixed with blue colour van timed, then blue, AA flooring van, fist force, having a smashing time van, buster stump van, the laughing armchair van that I mentioned earlier reoccurs, 2 grey cars, catalytic converter stench, black sexual and over drain cover, Tesco van, sex wax, air conditioner in the car, company red car, white car, you can forget that, written on the side of a car, grey car with light on and smashed over drain cover, FB removal van, knife dead child rapist said, 6 started cars timed, red timed and loud bike to erection, orange car timed and over drain cover, grey over drain cover, heat radiation van, Scott Law van, and I've forgotten what the other thing is. There's something I wanted to mention. If you're Christian, the Holy Bible makes it clear that masturbation before marriage lands you in the fire of hell. So if you've been sexually abused and not had sex for your whole life and been stopped from getting sex, that means you can't masturbate for 44 years. Right, okay, I'll bear that in mind, Christ. And it said you should rejoice with your wife at your youth. It was well too late for that because I'm 44. They don't allow the age gap. Right, next problem. If you commit suicide, you just go straight to the fire of hell. There's no forgiveness on suicide. So you've got to live. You've got to be put in this pig shit sty and take what's fucking coming to you. That's what the Bible tells you. Right, so I've just had a drink. I've just had something to eat. I've had 2 fags. So in total I had 7 fags today and 11 last night. And I drank more vodka than I should have. But I think that's because of the burning problem that was occurring. And that's not helping me cut down either when that burning problem occurs. So I nearly had as much as the night before last night. The night before that, sorry. Anyway, there's been 13 loud bites tying to itchy bellend and tying to erections. Now it's very personal, but I'm getting fucked off with it. Right, so there's a rough person, but it's not your type of rough person with that sort of accent. It's like the farmer type, rough looking type person with like brown trousers, brown top type person. Obviously he wasn't wearing that exact clothing, but you know, he had a t-shirt on saying "We ain't no friend." After that, straight after that, by the way, as I walk off that track onto the road where you can have 45 minutes without a car sometimes, they timed a staff care home van. So basically what they're saying there is the staff at the supported housing where I live are not your friend. I mean, it could be true, it might not be true, but you know, they're only there because it's their job. They have to play by the guidelines and rules, even if they didn't like anyone. And obviously, you know, I'm not going to say if they do like me or don't like me, but it's interesting that come out in that order. Straight after that, there was 3 grey cars and 1 white. And then as I walk across the field that I've just come out of, there was an ant having sex. Right, since I've been out, there's only been 3 incidents where the cloud has covered that sun. And you've had no more than about 3 minutes of cloud cover for the whole time I've been out. Obviously it wasn't as hot as this earlier, but you know, it's a sunny day, but it's hard to tell whether I'm being cursed in that way, where I'm being circled with the sunshine, because it looks like it's cloudy everywhere else. That's the problem. I didn't look on the forecast, so I don't know what the forecast is today. But I mentioned this picture. It's like a cursed painting that's been put on postcards. I mention it all the time, I'm not going to keep mentioning it. Basically, a sexy lady with smooth skin that looks like Britney Spears in her early 20s is got her legs up behind the clouds in the sky on this painting. She's moving her body in a sexual motion, pushing her hand down to like, oh, give me sex, while the sun is coming out of her hand, cursing this person that's walking down a track. And the rest of the picture is cloudy, and the person that's walking down the track obviously looks like it's a younger person than me. However, the clothing, if I remember, because I don't remember the picture that well, he's definitely holding a torch. And I think he had a backpack on. He was, what was it? His shape of his face, if you were to look at the picture on that painting, to one of my pictures that I got, a picture of me that's got a side angle to it, which I took a couple of years ago, resembles the same as that person that's being cursed with the sunshine. Anyway, the rest of the picture's got cloud, rain. It's a very mystical, nice looking painting, to be fair. But it's just, you know, it goes against me because I've never had anyone. But, you know, because this Lauren who works in Tesco's kind of resembles Kylie Minogue mixed with Britney Spears, and the same for this painting, then that's, you know, it's not good, is it? And this Lauren did make suggestions that she did want sex with me, and I was trying to make suggestions back, but every time that, before we get to even speak or whatever, there's always rough people being timed, or people causing trouble, people getting nasty in the supermarket. And after a few times of seeing her, or couple, you know, she turned against me because of the Savenne threat, and she thought I was Savenne, and everything just went all haywire. She possibly got in a relationship with Mike, or was previously in a relationship with Mike, I don't know. The likelihood is she wouldn't be making suggestions that she's going to give you sex if that was the case. But I don't know. Anyway, her husband Mike has threatened to smash me to pieces. I'm not exactly sure how old this Lauren is, but the oldest she would be is my age. But the likelihood is she's younger. Anyway, I'm not going to keep on going on about it, but it appears that I'm being cursed with this sunshine in that way, and it's all the time, ever since I saw it the second time around. I saw it in 2015, 2016 on the internet. Obviously it's a brighter picture, not so colourful, but when you put it on the postcard it looks much nicer. But like I said, I didn't buy it. There's issues with getting the bus without missing the last bus, and when I went to go back, the picture sold, and I lost the piece of paper of the artist that she wrote down for me, and it was 3 months later that I went back, and obviously they were treating me as a sad bastard. So I, you know, and I've not found that picture, but it does exist. I just had a paedophile, told you, said. So yeah, I'm just walking about wherever. Went to go down a new road. But if the behaviour's like that, I'm not going to fucking bother. And that's a sexy lady in there. Looks similar to Mrs. Hawkes, my old school teacher at Elmwood School. but slightly more smoother attraction in the skin. That's a rather unusual person to suggest. Obviously it could be coincidence, but you know, I like stating it as like, you know, it's a story for the journal of today's issues. Right, I want to talk about a period of sexual setups that's occurred recently, in the a month ago basically, or just over now. So, in 2005, 2006, it was the occasional suggestion of a sexual setup, but nothing was sort of making any hard suggestions. 2011, much to say, maybe a bit stronger for suggestions, but nothing came of it. When it came to the suggestions, you're going to get sex or whatever. And most days, those 365 days or whatever in that year, were just menacing setups. Really nasty menacing setups. Anyway, there's been no sexual setups ever since. Apart from when we came into the lockdown period, 6 months before we came into the lockdown period, where I was walking into sexual looking people, even as young as, you know, 18 or whatever, that would pass me and smile. But as soon as we came out of all the lockdowns, all this nasty malicious force was stepped up, and it got nastier and 4 times heavier. It has been as heavy as this in the past on certain days, but this is like all the time now. This is constant, and they're bringing up old things or stuff that's not true that died out in setups before the lockdown. So anyway, going back a month ago, or just over, maybe 5 weeks, I'm not sure how long ago it is now, there was a time period where there was a lot of sexual suggestions coming in my direction, and it still occurs here and there today, but it's mostly mixed with malicious or nasty setups, with most days in the last month being just malicious, nasty, suggested days, or twisting everything that's positive on a sexual suggestion with a vehicle name or a t-shirt name to apply no chance, or you're not having sex, or this is a, or you know, something like that, to go with whatever comes out. So say you've got a t-shirt saying you're going to have sex tonight, you're going to enjoy it. You'll get a van or something saying you're not going to have sex tonight, you're not going to enjoy it, it's just a t-shirt that's passed, or something like that, you know. It comes out in that sort of form. So this going back a month ago, so it started off with a rough day of setups, and same as usual, very heavy, and then all the action just suddenly dropped on the well, not dropped on the following day, because the following day I saw a lookalike to one of the staff workers, one of the sexual looking staff workers that works at supported housing. Obviously I can't give a name for legal reasons. I was surprised this lady actually looked at me in a friendly way, because people that age don't usually look at me in a friendly way, and this person was only about 18, 20, I can't remember what it is, maybe 21, I can't remember. And then you had a lot of cars being started as a pass and all that sort of problem on that specific day, and that day was a bit more cloudier than most other days, because nearly every day is sunny. So the following day you had initial nasty setups to start with from the oval side, and then I walked towards the new route that I took, which goes to West Coker, but I didn't walk to West Coker. When I reached the end of the country lane track, I turned around and came back, but I had passed that road on the bus before, and if I had to guess, it's about a quarter or half a mile away from there to get to West Coker. I'm not actually 100% sure how far. We're 15 minutes before I walked to the end point of going to West Coker area. All the setups suddenly changed, all of a sudden, into like sexual suggestions, good life suggestions, and even making the suggestions that you're going to be moved out or whatever, or there's a girlfriend that's going to move you out of your place. But I was thinking at the time it wouldn't be Home Finder, because they never moved me to council. They just piss about, you know, when you're bidding on places to move to. So, you know, I just looked at it in that way. So it also applied that your life's going to change, it's going to get better tonight, sort of thing, straight away. You're going to get sex, it's all going to change now. But the problem is it doesn't. And then this went on for 3 days, solid. T-shirts like, it's your lucky night. Sex is coming your way tonight. So, you know, I can't remember exactly what it was that was promoted in my direction through suggestions. But it lasted 3 days. On the 4th day it started to die out, and they started to rub this Sadie Dando business in, when I've never had sex with Sadie Dando. And obviously they're digging with the Wayne business as well. Now the Wayne business I've already mentioned many years ago, but they want to bring the Wayne business up, especially since the issue with the lockdown. Because all this stuff sort of died out in 2011. The Wayne business didn't even last 2 years, and that died out nearly as fast as it came in. Anyway, that was that day, and then the following day you just went into back into nasty suggestions, overhanging trailers to rip my legs off, similar to the suggestions like yesterday and today's stuff that I've mentioned on here, basically. But the day after that we went back into another sexual setup day, to suggest good news, or to suggest you're going to have sex tonight or enjoy life. And then obviously after that, through like a 6-day period, it just all died out, and was just nasty suggestions right through in the last month. I mean, you have had sexual suggestions that have come out, but they're now rigging up other vehicles or other suggestions to put it through. So, for example, if a t-shirt says it's your lucky night, you can have sex tonight, you'll get a van saying, this is not happening, we're defeating it, or we're making sure that it doesn't occur, you know. Something like that. There isn't a van that says that, but I'm using that expression just to explain what I'm trying to say. So there's no good news on any of the other days. But I can't make out why that 6-day period was coming out in that sort of way for suggestions. I don't quite understand why that 3-day sexual occurrence of positive suggestions occurred at the end of March 2025. In the time period that was occurring, I noticed that there's a lot of aircraft, police helicopters, ambulance aircraft, and, you know, hospital aircraft, you name it. There's just a lot of aircraft, and it was lasting for most of the day on all the days of the you know, sexual suggested setups. Now, as I said, did they have technology to know about what's going to happen? But somewhere along the line they made a boo-boo. So basically, this person could have got in a relationship, this person might already be married, and me being mistaken as the name Saven could have turned that person that they've suggested coming into my life against me, meaning all sexual suggestions just completely falls through. Well, I'm not quite sure. And the time period it happened as well. Not long after I get back from my mum's, after going on holiday for a couple of weeks. So I don't understand why everything was suggested in a positive manner, and I've not passed any single people or single women or whatever that are sexual looking, because obviously when this sexual suggestion was being suggested, they were making it clear that it's going to be pure. There was actually something like a pure something van, I can't remember what it was. Pure Well, was it? I can't remember what the name is now. But it's you know, and it was followed like sexual setups, you know, back in the time period, making the suggestion that it's going to be a sexy person. But like I said, it's through, nothing happened, but I just wanted to re-mention it, you know. And now I'm going to leave it there and just continue with the rest of the day's setups, whatever that's going to be. Another thing I think you can safely say is through is that phone call clairvoyant reading I paid for when I was pissed, drinking too much vodka, about a month ago. I think that was just after the sexual setups when I did that phone call. but I can't remember. Anyway, that clairvoyant has got it wrong, because she said that there's going to be a girlfriend. She said it's imminent, it's now, it's just around the corner. Well, that could be a couple of minutes, a couple of hours, a couple of days, maybe a couple of weeks, but probably no more than a couple of months. Well, we're already out of a month, so I think you can safely say that she's got it wrong. Right, so coming off of that path, initially, going back to the setups now, that is, because I've got a lot to go through. There's a blue car that was coming right into the hedge, and he nearly smashed me to pieces, followed by a black car. Then you had a splatter van, followed by a blood van, Clearview van, after a black and a red car, and a black mixed with red car, and a gun looking car. You had a must kill van, which is MUSTKIL. Then you had the brawl, BRAWL. After that you had the couple of cars, I can't remember what the cars were in that part, but you had Muller Milk, followed by Tesco van, the usual Tesco van, and then a Joslin van, and a Night Point van. After the Night Point van, without any cars after that, you had the Rapid Speed van. So there's about 10 more cars after that, mostly red and grey and black, I think it is. I'm not sure if there was any black and blue in that 10 cars roughly. Anyway, a tractor goes down the next section, the road where you can have 45 minutes without a vehicle at all, but that doesn't seem to be the case when I'm on the road. That was it for that specific minute and a half walk or whatever it is. When I get in the field, I see a look-alike to how Amy would have looked roughly when she was about the age of 12. So the only difference between the girl that I saw with her mother today, who was aged about 12, is Amy Weston had a different type of skin, so it's more sort of oily looking. Maybe I wouldn't say wet, but oily, silky. Maybe it's hard to describe, where with this girl it's just like a normal sort of dry, soft looking type of skin. Anyway, we get to the next section. There's someone trying to sneeze in my face. Reached a dead end road and there's a tractor with a spike in my direction. Get to the next section. So there's several cars back on that road where there can be 45 minutes without a single car. And then obviously I end up going down the track to do some recordings, or a redoing of a recording that I've mentioned on this digital audio recording device. Just before I go into the setups of the walking to the roundabout, I just want to mention that there's been quite a few loud bike issues since I've been sitting here. But one incident is where the impulse area of your penis, from your bumhole where it itches, right up to the tip, where the tube is in the penis, there's sort of irritated itches and tingling sensations, itching. Well, they only timed a 6 times loud bike. Timed as that was occurring when I initially tried doing the first recording that I just mentioned, when I was mentioning the Amy part. On this occasion it wasn't an erection, but I was a little bit pissed off about it, because obviously they shouldn't be doing this. Anyway, walking to the roundabout. Firstly, it's bike only. A grey and a blue car, light blue sexual car, orange car, someone who's rough photographs me. I forgot to write the name down of another person who had a top on that had a word on it, but I've forgotten what it was. It wasn't the most important words, but it was suggestive to some extent. We've broken the record for the amount of traffic that's at the roundabout, so you've had at least 200 vehicles. I don't think it's been that heavy before. so it took me some time to cross that. There's a load of black and red, a load of black and blue, sexual, Right, I forgot to write down the setups at the roundabout, probably because I've been pissing about on this digital audio recording device trying to mention stuff that I've deleted off, basically, or have kept. I don't know what I've kept, but anyway, I do recall there being at least 3 extremely nasty suggested wording on vehicles that made a strong suggestion, and in total I'd say there's about 10 vehicles with other wording on it, and there's 1 or 2 where the suggestions were something I wouldn't write down because it makes no suggestion. Obviously, like I said, it's probably one of the busiest I've ever known that roundabout, so I had to battle through like black and blue cars, black and red cars, black mixed with red. There was actually a grey mixed with black today as well. So after that, a bird tweets, raped Sadie. Well, I've never had sex with Sadie. Then there's a bike from behind, rapidly, and I nearly get hit by it because I don't see it coming. And then obviously a started van as well. As I let these young ladies pass, in their late teens or early 20s in a car, they tell me I'm a fucking sicko and give me an evil look, both of them, and I just have to look the other way. At first glimpse, I didn't actually realise that it was young women in that car. I just moved across to let them go, and then I looked and I realised that it's young women, and that's when they had a go at me. And obviously, since I've been here, you've had a lot of loud bike issues, so that'll take you to where I am now, and hopefully it shouldn't be too difficult for the rest of the evening, because obviously there's just a few hours for me to chill out to see if I can recover from the burning sensation, and at the moment it's not the worstest I've known it, but the burning is still to a point where I don't feel like I'm comfortable to go back yet. I might even just start my drinking out tonight as well, like I did last night, but that's unsure at the moment because I prefer to drink at home tonight. But let's just see. Right, so 6 times loud bike time to a stretch, and 8 times. Someone says fucking child rapist Liam he is, breaking his flat, so possibly mistaking me as that person if it's aimed at me. Dog barks dangerous child abuser you, and Crow says bust in your flat. A girl is possessed to say older. Another bike issue, except this bike revs molested Stephanie. Crow says very dangerous. Fuck your I won't say what it says because it's not suitable, but there shouldn't be animal sounds coming out in that stupid way. Crow says how sad Justin. And someone says you should have been with a specific lady's name, but I can't give the lady's name because it would cause offence. But what I will say is this person's in a relationship. Jesus Christ was crucified at the age of 33. Gemma Ferguson turns 33 in November. I can't say what date it is because I don't want to cause trouble. And I know this because I've seen her Facebook channel, but I stopped looking at her Facebook channel apart from one time, going back basically from since I moved to Yeovil, basically. So I've only been on there once, and that's it. But yeah, take into account I'm known as a sicko if I fancy Gemma, and Gemma's now the same age Jesus Christ was when he was crucified, when we reach the month of November this year. And guess what? Jesus Christ in his living life went with Mary Magdalene and had 2 children. So, you know, it says it all, doesn't it? I mean, I was saying, going back 10 years ago, that one day I'm going to be known as a sicko if I don't fancy anyone over the age Jesus Christ was when he was crucified. And they were a little bit uptight about that, actually. They got a little bit upset, the people I mentioned this to. But it's turned true, because I'm 44 now, coming up. I just want to mention something about Valentine's Day, because it's not a very good month of the year, because obviously it's where trouble kicks off, and it's also a sexual month, and I've never had anyone properly in my whole life. So, you know, never had a girlfriend, never had sex with a proper girlfriend, never been lucky enough to get a proper shag, you know, from an escort either in the past. So, nothing. But anyway, when it comes to Valentine's Day, another loud bite to erection, I didn't know this until about 10 years ago, maybe a bit more. But it's actually connected to Christianity and Jesus Christ. That's how the event formed. However, this information hasn't been on the internet so much recently, and they're sort of covering it up, or they're not mentioning that specific event. One other thing I want to mention is, until recent years, nearly all my life I didn't know what World Sex Day was. I didn't even know it even existed until several years ago. But then I found out that the 9th of June is World Sex Day. So what I wanted to mention is, going back when I was living in Bridgewater, between 2005 to 2013, that part of June was always rough as hell, and it was always kicking off, shouting, aggressive behaviour and whatever else. Well, now I found out the reason. It's because of World Sex Day. As I said in the past, 99.9% of all problems I've had in my life, or people stirring trouble, has always been on sexuality. Even why I'm living here now, and why I've not stayed at my old places or had to move on, or the reason for possible energy weapons burning me or causing eye problems, is all done because of sexuality. The whole lot. Even the police arrests in the past, or me getting in trouble, or the retaliation, is all down to sexuality. The reason I write down my problems when I go out or photograph people, well, not people, but setups as such. I used to photograph people, but I have to stop doing that because I would get in trouble. But you know, wording and you know all the rest of it. Well, that's all down to sexuality. Yeah, I'm 44 and I haven't had proper sex in my whole life. So, you know, I'm not happy about it. Yesterday, and on other recordings, I mentioned about prostitutes. Well, they work different today. So say 25 years ago, you could get a prostitute 16, 17, 18. Some of them were doing it at an age they shouldn't be doing it, you know. And they'd go with any age, you know, people in their 50s, 60s, 70s. You know, if they wanted the money or they wanted a shag. It was different back in those days. You wouldn't see that at all today. And obviously the prices are nothing like they are today. So they you know, be like 30 quid, 60 quid. But back in those days I didn't know anybody like that. So obviously I didn't get sex back in those days. But anyway, let's move on to recent times. Right, about 2012, that'd be the time period where it'd be blowjobs only if you want an escort or a prostitute. They won't give sex, it's just blowjobs. After the lockdown, they've upped their prices and they only give you a phone call now. So you won't get sex at all, you won't even get a meet up, it's just a phone call when it comes to a prostitute. And some people can get really nasty and threaten you with violence, murder, a knife attack, to be smashed out or stuff like that. Anyway, I don't use any of these utilities anymore because I've never got anyone and it's just a waste of time. I was speaking to a prostitute. This is an Asian person from many, many miles away. This goes back about 10 years ago. And she was telling me the sort of prices you'd have to pay if you wanted proper sex. And she admitted it herself, that in the UK, if you want proper sex, you're not going to get it from a prostitute. You have to go overseas or find a partner or go with someone you know in person. That's the only way you can do it. So basically, the average price for a blowjob can be anything from 60 quid to 300 quid depending on the person. However, some may charge up to £1,000 just for a blowjob. Not in this country, but from the countries she goes or the countries she's visited when she does these sexual things or whatever, if you want safe sex, which is where you wear a condom, it can be up to £3,000 for a couple of hours. If you wanted raw sex, hardcore sex without a condom, you're looking at £6,000 for a couple of hours. So the reason it's that expensive is because they have to take the risk, and obviously in some cases you've got to be tested first before you see certain prostitutes, mostly in the UK and in other countries. So obviously I don't have that sort of money, and obviously I've never managed to get sex in any form of way with a female before. So, you know, it's like that. I had an £800 scam that I've mentioned, which is by this Michael Jackson prostitute, and that was nothing. And what else? The reason I call it Michael Jackson prostitute is because she looks very similar to Michael Jackson, and she had quite rough skin, which was a setup by one of the neighbours moving out, or the other neighbour moving in, because the neighbour that was always unhappy with me and making gun sounds stopped making those gun sounds after this took place, and they're saying it's caused by Dan, but I don't know if you know what the issue is regarding that specific issue, but apparently it's just to get money out of me, and that's why she pretended to be that person. And she claimed that she was like only 18 at the time, and to me she looked like she's sort of in her early 20s, and she looked like she was a single mother, and like I said, not very good looking, so it's a setup. And obviously the neighbour, you know, at my old place or whatever, did actually say that they're doing it to be nasty. They're saying they know he's mentally ill, and they're using him, that's what they're doing. And said, you know, and that's basically that. When it came to that specific neighbour, there was no problems with that other neighbour for the last couple of years or so, in the whole time that I was living there, sorry, before I moved on. But anyway, I'll leave it there on that subject. Right, this person who scammed me, who I nicknamed Michael Jackson prostitute, because she has a similar face to Katie Derham, but more negative looking in the face, mixed with Michael Jackson. She also looks very similar to the young lady in the Dance Trance flyer merchandise catalogue for Dance Trance Mission Control, where they sell clothing and stuff like that. There's a specific lady there that looks very similar, but she has a more negative appearance, a more sort of rougher skin type in the face. Now, I didn't have a clue what she looked like, you see, before she scammed me. Anyway, this prostitute, or whatever you want to call it, this dates back nearly a decade now, this scam, so it goes back a long time. And at the time she said she's looking for a person up to the age of 40, but she did get funny and say it's got to be under 40. However, I don't know why she was being funny, because she was only there to scam me anyway. And obviously today I'm 44 and I still not had anyone. The other thing I want to mention is, this is not going to sound good, but in the last 4 years, or around the time period of when I moved to Yeovil, there's been a lot of changes when it comes to prostitutes in general. People have actually shouted in threats that you're not supposed to be a prostitute, and anyone that goes with a prostitute is a pervert. So basically, if you haven't had sex in your whole life and you're desperate for a fuck and not had sex in your whole life, going with a prostitute is forbidden, because it makes the modern community nasty, and they're threatening to kill you, threatening to knife you down, smash you to pieces, to shoot you dead, to burgle you, or to break every fucking bone in your body, and to smash your fucking back up, or take your fucking spine out, to put you in a wheelchair. So obviously that's the attitude now of a prostitute, and people are having arguments on the internet saying there shouldn't be a prostitute, they shouldn't exist, they shouldn't be around, you know, so people are not supposed to go with prostitutes. And it goes back to what I was saying earlier. Since the smartphone network came in, people started to change. And it was around 2012 where these types of people started disappearing, although I never really checked them out because I was trying to look for a proper relationship, but everyone's saying that they don't know you in person on dating sites and saying stop add me, or moaning about the age, or telling me that they're too hot or they're too sexy looking to go with, and they got to go with certain types of people that they like look of, like celebrities or the drug type community, so they got to go with like those types of people. So it's like that, and you know, it's so. But anyway, the amount of arguments, especially in the last 3 years, when I'm just browsing here and there, we're not actually going on them or paying anything, because I've got to do it by socialising, because it's all a waste of time, you know. I mean, you shouldn't be 44 years of age without having proper sex in your whole life, but you know, God has stopped me getting anyone. However, it's alright for his son Jesus Christ to fuck Mary Magdalene, isn't it? But anyway, yeah, so if you mention a prostitute, I had it on my CD case basically. On one occasion, when I got in a mood, I held it for about 3 weeks on the CD case that I carry when I go out and about, you know, to write stuff down, and people were shouting at me saying, you don't have prostitutes, they don't exist, they're not supposed to, everyone that needs a prostitute needs to be shot dead and need to be killed. And I stopped taking that out, you know, onto a CD cover, and there's just a music track on there these days. But I only did it for that one time period because I was in a bad mood with all the trouble in the early days of when the time came when I was being threatened with a knife, and I was chased with a knife, basically, that time period, 2022. So you know, I thought that they're trying to take my life, so I decided to write out on the CD case, the cover of the CD case, that I lean my paper on to write the daily problems down from my journal. So how it goes today is you can't have a prostitute. They tell you you've got to go with people that you know in person, whether it's family, relatives or friends, and they tell you if you have to make friends with someone new, it's going to take about 10 years before they let you go in a sexual relationship with them. And at 44 years of age, and if I can't take her to a granny, there's too late. So they fucked my life up, basically, as I was mentioning earlier on this recording. Obviously people on these dating sites, because I stopped using them in 2018 area, just after 2018, something like that, and I've not used them since, maybe pay for the one here and there for a short period of time. But since 2012, in the UK, people were saying if they don't know you in person, they won't speak to you, and that's on a dating site. Well, the problem is they're not going to know you on a dating site. That's what a dating site's for. But obviously these people are all like this, you know, and that's why you can't get anywhere on a dating site. I've used Tinder, Zoosk, autistic dating, Asperger's dating, just in time dating, or whatever it was back in 2005. I've spent thousands on these sites, and there was a couple of free ones, but you know, you had to pay for them. It's like postal order payments back then, before I even had a debit card, you know. So, but it's always been the same. It's got worse and worse. People had some form of brains back in the period of up to about 2010, but after that, you know, people just falling stupid. They won't, and they try and tell you that, you know, not to go with a single mother. Well, I don't want to go with a single mother, so that goes in favour of me. But people that I've messaged that I haven't realised are single mothers are saying that my ex-husband doesn't want you around my children, or I don't want you around my children, or and saying to everybody at messages, you know, on these dating sites, and saying that you're supposed to be with negative attraction, saying that only if you've got money or if you're rich are you entitled to someone that you can fancy. You know, it's all that crap. And then obviously, you know, saying stuff like, do I know you? Why are you adding me on this dating site? You don't even know me. You're supposed to know me in person before adding me on this dating site. You know, stuff like that. Or saying that they only make friends with the people that they know in their own phones list that are on dating sites. So it's all like that now. talking of dating sites, I've been violated in very sly ways as well, because there's one occasion where I could only see people of a certain age, and it was claiming that I was born in 1963, which is actually the year my father was born. Anyway, it gets better, because since 2016, on dating sites, they're restricting the age so that you can't see anyone if there's more than 3 years difference in age. So that was one of the reasons why I stopped using all these dating sites. It's a sly way to get people off of the social media, to force them to have to go out and look for someone. So that's exactly what I've had to try and do. But the problem is, with this socialising I've done over the years, there's never been anyone single that's basic looking or attractive looking. And the next problem is, everyone seems to be a single mother since they're a teenager. And I'm told I'm a sick cunt if I don't go with anyone over the age of 40 for first ever sexual relationship in my whole life. And saying anything under 40 is sick. So that means anyone in the world that's had sex with someone under the age of 40 is a sick bastard. So that's most of the population, I take it. In the past, the very few people that have added me on a dating site, or have asked me if I'm single, over 50% of all those people are actually uglier or older than people that sexually abused me as a child. Obviously there are others that don't look like those types of people, but it has never, maybe one or two back and going back, but even they were just basic. I've never had anyone that's really sexy looking, that most people go with out there, ever add me on a dating site. And those ones that were basic or just about able to fancy, when I went to go and meet up on days, they either took the bus service off, they closed the road so there's a diversion, or an event has taken place where they've had to shut everything down, or they've cut me off social media with the internet going down, or taking the phone service out. And in the time period that occurs, that person's either turned against me or found someone else, or looking for someone else. Where this has occurred, where they've cut the phone signal off for 3 days, or the internet goes down for 3 days or whatever, or these diversions take place, or closing shops if you want to meet in a shop, or causing whatever, all the times they occur, they have never occurred when it comes to these really negative people that have added me on a dating site. 99% of all people that have added me on a dating site have always been the zombie looking type, or what I nickname the toff faces, where they look like they're stupid when they laugh back in a stupid way, and got like warts or rashes across their chest, or sort of skin type where it's all red and rough. So I've always had that type try and add me on a dating site. Even when I was in my 20s, when I was using those dating sites, it was the same then. The very few, as I said, that have made communication have always been, there's always been the negative type, apart from the odd few, and those odd few, even they weren't the sexiest, but they were people I was able to fancy to a point where I would go with them. But unfortunately, like I said, these occurrences, like the mobile network going down or whatever, caused all this to fall through. And there's also a couple of people that I met up, this goes back before I was 30, and obviously they were lying about the picture that they showed on their profile, and when I got there, they were these zombie looking types that are very negative and very ugly. I've never had anyone that's basic looking after the age of 30 make any communication with me, apart from people in America. In America, you've got people with massive age gaps, but even going past about 2013 area, 2014, even they started to restrict the age. So you were getting 18-year-olds going with people in their 40s or 50s or 60s, and it was seen as normal in America up until around about that sort of time period. In the UK, it went on a little bit earlier than that. They started moaning about the age and claiming it's 25, not 21 anymore, not 18 anymore, and it used to be 16. I remember times when people were 15 coming out 16, you know, with hard, rough men, basically in my age group, the age I am now near enough, and some maybe a bit older. There's actually a few people's names I could give, but the problem is, without people's consent and the type of information I'm giving, I can get in trouble if I put this information on the internet. But I'm not making it up. But anyway, I'll leave it there on that subject. I forgot to mention, this morning when I was speaking to a mental health worker on the phone, I was discussing music, and she was saying, if you can't get a partner, why don't you concentrate on your music and stuff like that? But the problem is, I don't have half the music I used to have. And the problem is, you can't get my music because it's all restricted, and because it's underground music, they won't reissue it. And a lot of the recordings went when the record companies went under, and there are specific tracks that they can't let the public have anymore because they're no longer allowed to because of music regulation laws, meaning quite simply everything I listen to is folded under. So if I want my music, you're looking at £300 for a CD or something like that. It's like that. Or having to purchase it on a vinyl, which would cost about 300 or 400 quid, like DJ Lee and Gwange Too Deep on Legendary 3 Legend Records. You're looking at about 400 quid for that, and obviously I don't have that sort of money, and that's not in mint condition either. That's in just very good condition with a few scratches or whatever. So, you know, my music's gone. It's completely gone. I mean, I've got a few tracks left, but there's no way I'm buying my music back. There'll be no way I can do it. You know, so yeah, I was mentioning that to the support worker, because as I was mentioning on other documentaries, there's been bad experiences that have happened, and whatever has been causing the burning and eye problem at this place. And my last place has had the ability or capability to wipe off USB sticks, hard drives, and also to mess up the disc layer of CDs over a long period of time, about 6 months or more. It doesn't happen straight away, but it does ruin them. So with that going on, and me accidentally taking out boxes of recorded discs, which I mentioned when I put them to those M discs going back, where I got pissed one night on 2 occasions, and I accidentally chucked the lot out, and I didn't have it backed up anywhere else. So, you know, I've lost most of my music. I won't download my music because YouTube quality is a load of crap, and to download it with better quality, you'd need to go onto a site like Beatport or Apple Music or Spotify or whatever it's called. And the problem is there, in general, although the download quality is getting better, I still prefer to have, you know, take it from a CD, because the quality of a download is still not perfect. It's still noticeable. It's getting better though. It is getting better, I can't argue with that. But you still get like that tingy effect, you know, if you mess about with samples and put it in Audacity, for example, and change the tempo, the speed, or the mid-range or the high range or bass range, you just get like you'd notice the tingy sound that you get from the download quality. And also with download quality, you lose a bit of the original volume that it was sent down to in the first place. Because I was doing experiments with a music track that I was putting on storage online to download it back, and I compared the 2 tracks, and there is a difference. It does take the volume down slightly, and it's slightly more muffled than the original file that I uploaded. So it's very difficult, and the fact that none of my music's on like Spotify or anything like that, and just YouTube, means that, and that's 99% of my music, the whole lot's like that. It's not just 1 or 2 tracks, because I've always been into like the specialised underground jungle of 1993 and 1994. The whole lot's gone. So when I was speaking to the mental health worker earlier, when I was saying I'm struggling to get a partner and can't get a partner, and she mentions music, well, quite simply, you've got your music taken away from you as well. I mean, there are other alternatives in music, but it's not as good as my original music that I've been listening to most of my life since the age of 12. So you've got like dark ambient, there's a couple of tracks here and there, but you know, I really do prefer the stuff that I've always listened to, as it has a foundation and it's also sentimental. But most of those tracks I don't even have anymore. The whole lot's gone. So apart from 40 odd tracks and a couple that have been downloaded, but I don't take care of those because, you know, they're crappy quality and I rarely listen to them. That's stuff you've got to listen to on a laptop, because you put it on an MP3 player for headphones, it just sounds absolutely crap. So, you know, so when it comes to my music, quite simply, I told her that, you know, that I can't have my music anymore. So then we sort of discussed what other subjects I'm into, and there really isn't much in the way of alternative interests, to be fair. Like paranormal, but I didn't tell her that. You know, so this is why, you know, I'm kind of drinking, because there's no, you know, there isn't no life really. Sort of, you know, I like taking photography, you know, photographs, but on cloudy days. But like I said, the last 10 years has been sunny nearly every single day, especially in 2023 and 2024. Less than 6 days, or 6 24-hour days of cloudy or sun, where the sun's gone in behind a cloud for the whole 365 days of both of those years. Maybe 8 days for 2024, but definitely not for 2023. So, you know, whatever interest I'm into, you just can't win. Everything's against you. So, you know, and then at the end of that, she said there's still time left to find a partner, and not all people moan about the age gap or whatever. But the problem is, you know, I don't know how people are. I don't know anybody, you see. This is the problem. It'd be interesting if you could comment and with some advice or how to make things change. But as far as I'm concerned, with people acting in this stupid way since the smartphone network was invented, you just can't win with anything. It wasn't like it when people had the mobile phone, like the Nokia 3310 or whatever. People started to, you know, you had to pay 50p a message, you know, back in those days, or it was like £1 for a minute on the call, like. You know, obviously it's cheaper today, but, you know, since the mobile network came in, especially the smartphone, that sort of time period, things were still alright in the early days of the internet phone. It was when the smartphone came in, and when the people started to change, you know, sort of, and basically they turned into a honeycomb. So if you try and ask them if they're single on a dating site, they say, I don't know you in person. I only have people that are in my friends list on my phone or Facebook or whatever. So, you know, you just can't win. Right, so I just want to update you on the burning problem. I've been out for quite a few hours now, so there is some change. It's starting to feel a little bit better, but it's not perfect. I mean, I have been out before, you know, after the burning problem's been occurring, and, you know, it's been a lot worse. But it's still worse than what it would have been this time last year. But it's there, but it's taking longer to go, I've noticed, and also it's given me the diarrhea when this burning problem occurs. It's taking longer to go. When I was staying at my mum's, the 2 times I stayed there, it takes 48 hours to go, this burning problem, or just over, from when it's being caused. But the problem is, I can't guarantee that when the burning problem's occurring, and it's there and it's been bad and it still continues, that it's amplifying the problem, making you even iller. Do you know what I mean? So there are people that disagree with me, obviously. Like my neighbour Pete is a good friend. He thinks it's caused by some form of schizophrenia. Obviously the doctor thinks the same as what Pete thinks. Some of this social people, like support workers or whatever, they don't rule out other possibilities. They say what you're saying sounds like it could be a genuine health problem, to get it checked out. But they're up and down with it. They're not sure what to think. But as far as the doctor goes, the main doctor that is, he puts it down to some form of schizophrenia. That's why the burning sensations occur, which I don't believe. Because the type of burning that occurs is not like a burn you get like if you put your hand in front of the fire or stuff like that. It's like cat claw scratch marks, but it's like a sour type of burning, and it's going right across the whole body, and it's affecting your breathing. You're trying to struggle to breathe, you're like burning in air that's burning the lungs on the inside. So it's whatever it's causing it, I do not know. I mean, I have raised the possibility of like possible energy weapons, as I mentioned, but let's not go into all that subject, because I need to work out what's causing it first before I can make allegations of people causing it. I mean, I have my suspicions, especially when it causes to have the trots or whatever. So, but anyway, I'll mention that subject at another time. Right, so I've had a couple of shots of vodka, I've had 2 fags, and I've had my gin and tonic. I've done this recording about 10 times. Initially, when I did this recording, I was quite unhappy in the way I did the recording. I thought, I don't want to lose my temper or anything like that, but it got a little bit, I got a little bit annoyed. But I've got to redo it again, because I want to do it a bit more cleaner, and do it a bit more so that you can understand the situation, because obviously, I'm not making this up. I've just witnessed 2 teenagers having sex in this air raid shelter. But it didn't turn out the way I expected. I thought they were going to get aggressive and get nasty about it. I thought, you want to get aggressive with me because I'm not in a good mood. They didn't. But firstly, walking up here, there was 3 cars, that's all there was. And it wasn't too many setups, but there were a couple of children that were shouting, maybe young adults. They're saying, fucking beat him and all, knife him, he's fucking this and that, all that sort of stuff. So initially I came into here, and as I witnessed it, without any knowledge at all, because I didn't have any idea that there was going to be anybody in here, because I just came in here because I wanted my alcohol, and I witnessed these 2 people having sex with each other. So you had a girl, so I don't know how to describe her. She wasn't a blonde. It was not darkish hair. It's very similar to sort of those type, new age type, I guess. Hard to describe. You know Mr. Bean? There was a specific episode that they haven't shown on the TV series. She's got there's like a dark hair, but no, dark brown haired lady, where her hair's down to her ears or whatever, and then it's shaved off with long hair, kind of sort of look. Very sort of laughable. I guess that's the best way you can put it, because I don't know anyone else that looks like this person. Right, the fucking digital audio recorder is playing up, so I can't delete the last little bit to fucking redo it. I mean, I've been pissing about with this video about fucking 10 fucking times or more. Right, so as I was saying, there was a couple in there doing it. The chap, who's about 15 or 16, was actually quite slim build, and looked very similar to myself when I was his age. Near enough identical, in fact. So he didn't start on me, or they didn't start on me, none of them. Believe it or not. When I caught them doing it in there, they didn't start on me. The lady came up to me, or the girl, whatever age she is, and just said, "Please don't tell anybody, will you, what you just seen?" And I said, "No, I'm not. I said I'm not interested. I don't care." And she just kept on. She tried coming up to me, saying, "Please, will you please not tell anyone," sort of thing. So I said, "Yeah, quite, yeah." I started that shit. And obviously the chap, or the boy that looks like me, says, "We shouldn't be fucking walking in there, he's a fucking pervert, isn't he?" And he walked out slowly, but as he was walking out, he's sort of walking slowly, side to side, like that, as if he wanted to start a fight. And then after he walked out, he said, "Come on, come on now." He said, get out there. Sort of like that. And then they started walking up. They went to where they need to go to get out. And when they got out, they ended up talking quietly to each other. And and it sounded like she started crying, but I can't guarantee that because I didn't hear it clearly. As they left and they passed a certain period of space away from me, that's where a bit of shouting occurred. They said, "Oh, I fucking see him, I'll knock his fucking brains out," and started all that shit. So, but you know, they shouldn't be having sex. I mean, I'm told I'm a sick cunt if I don't go with anyone over the age of 40 years of age for first ever sexual relationship in my whole life, and yet they're only 15 or something like that, 16. I mean, I don't even know if they're actually that age. But anyway, this happened about half an hour ago. So in the process of doing all this, I've already had some vodka, and I've already had a couple of fags, and a gin and tonic drink. So let me give you a bit more of a better description of what these people look like. Right, so the chap, take into account when I first came in here, and I witnessed that, and after they left, when I did this recording I was losing my temper, so it was a little bit shouty initially, but not too shouty, not as bad as how it was when I was shouting last night down the digital audio recorder, or a section of the day before where I lost my temper when I had that hangover and I was walking around Sturminster Newton. So I was a bit calmer than that, but I was a bit annoyed, but I wasn't shouting in the term of sort of saying stuff out of the ordinary that sounds like it's psycho or anything like that. I just kept to my normal sort of information I was stating, but I said it in a very angry term. Right, so obviously this teenage boy or young adult, I don't have to put it like this, but he looks basically identical to what I look like on one of my photo scans as me when I was that age, roughly. Quite literally looks like me. Bit more I'd say muscular, but more medium build, possibly musclier. When they were doing it, they're more interested in getting the fun out of each other by lifting their tops up and half left, their trousers like half down. Struggling to word this because I can't redo the recording because the fucking thing's playing up. I've had a couple of drinks and I'm a bit tipsy. So that's when I saw them. So obviously I had the top right up, both of them. You know, I didn't expect to see it. I didn't know where to fucking put myself. But anyway, she looks very similar to that. I guess it's a foreign lady, I don't know. There's a Mr. Bean series which I've not seen on the main television. It might have been shown on television, but I've not seen that specific series. I've seen it on the internet, on YouTube, but not seen it on the so she got rounded hair, so it's like I didn't see the colour properly. It's either dark, it could be black, but the likelihood is dark brown by looking at the facial features of this person. I mean, she went to come up to me to try and hug me, to tell me not to tell anybody, and I thought, don't you touch me, because you probably could come on your fucking hands or whatever, you know. I didn't say that, but because I had to be polite, obviously, but that would be the likelihood. So they were doing it in there, and obviously the very first recording I did on air, initially I lost my temper half and half because, you know, I've not had sex in my whole life and I witnessed this. So there's a specific lady. Mr. Bean is in the car with this lady. It's like a foreign lady. It looks like that, but I don't know what her name is. I think it's a foreign name. It's one where he's got the laptop and he spills tea over someone's laptop or something like that. It's one of those episodes, but it's not. It looks like that woman, but I can't fucking explain how she looks. Her hair is sort of down to around her neck, but it's like chopped off, so it don't go any further, but it's like long hair that's chopped down around her neck, rounded sort of thing, and sort of very similar looking to that. There's not very often you see a person that looks like that, actually. I'm having trouble describing how she looks, but anyway, they were doing it in there. But what I will say is when I went in there and out here, I'll have a look up there in a minute, but it looks like they were having proper sex. There's no condom wrapper, there's no nothing. So whatever's been going on, they were doing it fucking big time. And they only just finished probably at around the time I came in. And at the time, I was trying to get a digital audio recording device out. I never fucking realised the battery dropped in my pocket, I was a bit pissed off, to be fair. And then obviously I couldn't record it because she came up to me to try and touch me, to tell me not to say anything. By the time I sorted the digital audio recording device out, they'd already gone. So they're sort of whispering when it went. But I was expecting them to fucking kick off, I thought, seeing this, I thought, if I'm going to pop in here and fucking, because I didn't know they were in here, you see. I just shone my torch, I was coming in to get ready to have a drink. And I had to wait a couple of minutes before they left, before I could start my drink, because I thought, this is going to look good, There's no condom wrappers, and there's no condoms in here. So it looks like they were having proper sex. So she's probably been made a fucking single mother, probably. He's probably coming her cunt. At the age of 15, 16 or whatever it is they are. Mind you, I wasn't happy about him shouting as he left with his girlfriend, because I started going in that direction because I was a bit edgy. No, I wouldn't have done anything, but I would have made it clear that I'm not very fucking happy with what you're saying, But luckily it didn't come to that. So obviously I've downed a little bit more than I usually drink, and obviously I've done this recording I don't know how many times, but it's definitely at least 10 times. But the very first recording really did fuck up because I was losing my temper. Obviously it's not as bad as what it was at Sturminster Newton, but it's sort of, let's just say I was not happy to experience that, especially when I've not had sex in my whole life, and the fact that they're doing it at that age. Well, I've just walked up the path, through the, to see if there is a condom. So I didn't actually take much notice. When I saw it, I sort of looked away because I thought this would cause fucking trouble if I saw it, them having sex. But when they were caught, they fucking jumped a mile. They jumped out their fucking skin, both of them. I mean, for her to apologise, I thought they were going to kick off. I really did. I thought they were going to have a fucking go at me, but they didn't. It's exactly as I just mentioned. Because when something like that occurs, people are not usually that friendly. But like I said, there's no condom, so he's either left it on his cock or he's had sex with her without a condom on. And just to clarify where I am, I'm at the air raid shelter at Yeovil Junction train station, basically. There's like an area where you can go into like a designated air raid shelter. I mentioned the graffiti that was in there going back. I guess I can mention it again if you like, for those who haven't seen it. A lot of it doesn't make sense, so it's all shit. That heavy graffiti, wasting spray paint just to write the word heavy does not make any sense. You've got EXEON, upside down I, punctuation, I've forgotten the name of it, explanation mark, and obviously you've got, I hadn't seen that one before, I didn't know that one was there. Hookers between 18 to 65, basically saying that they want sex, yeah. Yeah, well, that explains it all, doesn't it? Right. Third fag, sorry. It's my last fag. I've got to get this shit up because I'm getting chest pain from it. Who? Got who's in here. FK time, and that's definitely not written by me. But it says FK time. Fuck time. But then again, it could mean it in a nasty way, like he can go and fuck himself. Fuck time. Just in time. There's like a upside down triangle, gay. But I I have no problems with gay people. So, next thing. Wondered. It says heard ahead at the top, paranoid, and it says FINK, think, and a cross underneath that. I've seen this one the other day. Lyra, fuck Jesus 2020, but Jesus doesn't exist. If he does, then I'll be surprised, because obviously he hasn't helped me, has he, in my life, of any fucking thing at all. What's that say there? Might as well read it out. Looks like it says wonder in orange paint. And like you got a H, is like a gothic looking H, and it's like got a picture of like a angry dog with a triangle upside down nose, 2 square eyes, a sinister, like, how do I put it, a curvy U that's going downwards, sideways, in a like negative way. And it says 21 under that. And obviously, oh shit, I didn't see that there. Gotta be careful there, it might be asbestos, you know, that shit's bad for you, you know. I've inhaled asbestos, by the way, in the past, and you just can't stop fucking coughing. I think the time I used... Oh shit, hang on. I've had a couple. Bit of vodka, that's a problem. But, you know... Yeah, if you inhale asbestos, you just can't fucking stop coughing. Some years ago I inhaled some, and just, you know... accidental, obviously. But, I guess everyone in their lifetime has had an experience where something like that's happened. That's probably the reason for my bloody coughing today, you know, but never mind. I feel a little bit tipsier than usual, considering I'm only drinking the same amount as I usually do. I mean, it sort of kicked in a bit. I mean, I felt tipsy when I started the recording, started mentioning the incident of when I came here. But considering the low amount I've had, maybe it's because I drank a lot of water, I do not know, but I have felt more tipsy than usual. I've had to switch my phone off again because I forgot to charge it last night, and I've only got one cell on there, so I can only switch it on to look at the fucking time. So I have looked at the time, and it's 9:35 PM. So I went on, switched it on, and switched it back off. But I don't like doing that, you know, it's got to be charged. I'll sort that out when I go back, because, you know, tomorrow I want to try and have a better day. I probably won't be coming here tomorrow because, you know, an experience like what I've been witnessing it's pissed me off a bit, you know. Going back, 45 minutes ago or whatever, I was not in a very happy mood, because obviously as soon as they left, 5 minutes after they left, I started, you know, getting really nasty, mentioning God and all the rest of it. And well, you know, it wasn't good, the first video, but it wasn't as bad as me losing my temper when I had that massive hangover when I went to Sturminster Newton a couple of days ago. But, you know, I'm here now, and God's not giving me nothing. All God's giving me is an old sleeping bag there. I won't be sleeping now. I know whose sleeping bag that is, by the way. I think one of the neighbours camped in there, but I don't know that for sure. But it is a good place to camp, you know. But the problem is, he needs to be careful if he is camping in there, because that asbestos on there is, if that collapses any time, it's not good. There are safer places you can camp that are like this. And obviously, I don't want to see him ending up in a situation where everything collapses down, so it'd be better if he didn't camp in that specific place. Obviously, you do have buildings like that, but as long as the rock is secure, then that's good. Right, so there's a few threats as I was leaving there. A bit nastier than what it was the first time around. So, I did manage to keep my fucking cool. Then you had a black and blue fucking car. That Aimley van, the, suggest Amy Weston, don't they? You know, AIM, AMELIA. And then after that, there hasn't been any problems, but, you know, worth mentioning. Right, sick cunt child rapist being fucking smashed in, knife dead or whatever. There's been quite a few threats, and also a second load of threats from the field. I'm trying to listen to some music. Space Africa, AFRIKA or something like that. A bit tipsy tonight. Listening to a track called Why 2222. All one word put together on Days Recordings Records. It's dark ambient music, Space Africa. So yes, it's a good track. I do like it. Obviously it's created by human beings that are a bit younger than me, and obviously it's created by people that are black rather than white, of a respectable age, they're human beings. So yeah, obviously they're younger than me, but yep, they're human beings that are making good music. So as simple as that. Here's a sample of that track, because I like it. I first heard this when Pete played it in the garden, and I fucking love it. Right, they don't need to make this fucking road busy, hang on. Basically it's dark ambient. I can't play it to you properly because there's too much fucking traffic. But basically it's dark ambient, created in the same way as these dark or very deep new age tracks, and very similar to those 1993 and 1994 underground jungle tracks, with that deep breakdown part in the middle of the track on the heavyweight stuff that was released back at that time. Right, dead sick cunt child pervert said. Stabbing with AIDS said. Shot down just said. So obviously things are starting to kick off a little. It's going to get worse because I've got to face Yeovil Town for walking back. Right, so walking back, almost hit by a motorbike in my direction, slam on, in the same way as it was on that corner when I initially went out on that specific road. There was a police van tying just before, but the bike after. About 30 cars, all black and blue, red, black, sick, white, you know, you name it. Two grey, white, and obviously a kind of rough person in my way. I got a bit nasty, but I couldn't make out what he was saying because I had headphones on. Then I made it back home, no problem, since I've been home.